Let's discuss the charges. Charges are costs and fees that you can add to the cost of items, sales, and purchases according to your setup. The following are some examples of what charges might be: freight, transport, postage, insurance, recycling, or packaging. There are three ways of adding charges in AX. By using price charges. This is a fixed charge setup for a specific item. For example, a startup fee that is charged every time that the item is traded. The price charges feature is set up on the released products form. The second type is manual setup of charges. You can add this kind of charge manually to the order header or order lines of a sales or purchase order. An example is a one-time fee that is charged to the whole order or a specific line on an order. You can also add this kind of charge to purchase order invoice, header, or lines. This charge is set up in accounts receivable, accounts payable, or procurement and sourcing modules underneath setup and then the charges folder. Automatic setup of charges is the last type. This kind of charge is set to automatically add charges when you create a purchase order or sales order. This charge is set up in accounts receivable, accounts payable, or procurement and sourcing modules underneath the setup and then charges and then automatic charges form. Let's take a closer look at price charges. A price charge is an amount that is added to the price of an item. A charge could be a production and setup cost, fees, or freight. You can set up price charges by using one of the following methods. Independent of the quantity of the items. This type of charge is a fixed amount that is added to the order price independently of the item quantity. Whether 10 or 20 items are being sold or purchased, the charges on the order line are the same. You can also make them dependent on the quantity of the items. In this example, the charge is calculated based on the item quantity and added to the order line. Price charges are set up on the purchase and sell fast tabs of the released product details form and on price agreements. The settings for price charges are specified for purchase prices, cost prices, and sales prices under the relevant base purchase price, base cost price, and base sales price field groups. When you set up price charges, you can use the fields shown in the following table. To add manual and automatic charges, when you create a sales order or purchase order, you must set up charges codes. The charges codes are used to specify the kind of charge and how the charge is debited and credited. Let's switch over to AX and I'll show you how to create one. I'll go to Accounts Receivable and then go to the Setup folder and expand Charges and open up the Charges Code form. I'll click the New button to create a new charges code. Here I'll type in a unique description. I'm going to abbreviate and call mine CNC for cancellation. If this particular code should be taxed, you can select the item sales tax group. On accounts receivable charge codes, you'll also notice a prorate checkbox. The prorate checkbox allows you to prorate the total amount of the charge across multiple invoices. This is useful, for example, in a scenario where sales orders might be shipped on multiple shipments. Instead of charging the entire freight on the first invoice, you can prorate the amount of fees or charges from the sales order across all of the invoices. On the Posting Fast tab, you'll need to specify the detailed information about where to post the entry to. So for our example, we're going to select Customer Vendor in the Debit Posting field. This means, in this particular example, that the customer account will be debited when posting this cancellation fee. In other words, we will pass on this charge to the customer. You'll notice in the drop-down box another option exists for Item and Ledger Account. The Item option allows you to debit the costs directly to the item, And the ledger account option allows you to debit the costs directly to a specified ledger account. We'll select a posting type as well. For this particular example, I'll select the option called Order Fee. Next, on the credit section of the fields, I'll need to select where I want this to be posted. So, in the posting type, I'll select that I want this again to be called an order fee. And then in the account field, I'll select the main account that I want to use. For this particular example, I'm going to use account number 403150, which is for miscellaneous charges. Now that I've completed the setup of the charges code, we can start to set up price charges.